Hey, what's happening, Nerd Fam? Nerdy Jace here, and I'm back with a new What's in the Box video. And this is going to be a two-part What's in the Box video because this is covering all the pickups that I got for the month of February. So yeah, I'm dividing it up between two parts. First part's going to be, my favorite, just all about movies. And the second part is going to be, my other stuff. And yeah, February is my birthday month. So, again, I decided just to gather everything together and then make the video at the end of the month, which, we're into March now. But figured that'd be better. And then again, like I said, it's going to be a two-parter. But for those of you that don't know, What's in the Box is my version of a pickups video, whether it's local stores, gifts from friends, family, things I find online through Kickstarters or crowdfunding, anything like that, just online sales, whatever. I pick up stuff that I think's cool and, again, talk about it, show you out there, and again, hopefully turn you on to something that you may not have seen before, or, we're just curious about, and then, I don't know, maybe this piques your interest a little bit more. But like I said, this first half is all about movies, and I have a stack that we're going to go through. Most of these are 4K, because let's see. Well, I had inventory at work, beginning part of February. And then after the hell that was a couple days of that, I decided to treat myself. And it was just convenient that Grove Entertainment was having a big 4K sale on horror, because it was Valentine's Day. They're mixing horror with that. And for those of you that don't know, Grove Entertainment was a movie distribution company, and they either bought out or merged with Shout Scream Factory. So all their stuff is with Grove now, and basically about the same sales and stuff. It seems like shipping was a lot faster with them. I don't know why or why not, but it seemed like I got my stuff a lot quicker through Grove. But again, a lot of the same sales, sometimes even better. And excuse me. Whew, excuse me. So yeah, 4Ks, big discount on them, so I grabbed a freaking stack. Again, majority of these were from Grove, but I also got something from Vinegar Syndrome, also well, through the evil Amazon, but Severin, a couple Severin films releases, and then another one from Barnes & Noble when the wifey and I were in there checking stuff out. This is a movie that we just rewatched. That was on the last drive-in that we both really liked. And then last thing was my final or my latest crowdfunding thing. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to babble on about a bunch of that. So yeah, first up is going to be the Vinegar Syndrome pickup that I got. And this was on a pre-order or a pre-purchase, whatever. Pre-order. So I jumped in like right when I saw it, because I really like this movie. And that is Body of Evidence with Madonna and Willem Dafoe, Joe Mantegna. I'm not sure how you actually say his name. Ann Archer's in here. Also Julianne Moore. So yeah, an act of love or an act of murder. So yeah, when this came up, so I jumped on it, got my pre-order in, because again, got the cool hard case slipcover. And the 4K looks pretty cool too. The cover for it. And of course, also comes with a little book or pamphlet or whatever, you know, talking about the movie and stuff. But yeah, this was all right. So this, in my opinion, is the best of the early '90s Basic Instinct ripoffs. So, Basic Instinct hits Paul Verhoeven's you know, classic movie. It's a great film with, you know, Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas, and again, there's a great cast in that too. But it hit big. The whole erotic thriller, I guess, genre kind of picked back up with that. So everybody and their mother were, you know, making ripoffs basically, or not spoofs, but, you know, trying to cash in on that trend that just happened. So yeah, and this is also when, you know, Madonna was really everywhere between you know, her music, her 80s and 90s music is fucking great. It's great pop music. And also, you know, she was starting to do some acting as well. I can't remember if she did Dick Tracy before or after this movie. I honestly don't know, but again, just this came out on the heels of Basic Instinct. So basically, Madonna's character, Rebecca, she is wanted, or she is on trial for basically murdering her older lover by basically screwing him to death. And so she gets arrested and everything because she was in his will changed, and she is the sole inheritor. So Joe Mantegna, I'm not sure how you actually say his name. Great actor too, great bit parts and stuff. He's a district attorney or whatever. He's going to you know, put the screws to her in court and everything. And Willem Dafoe is set to defend her, and you know, he gets caught into her web of sexuality and all that kind of stuff. But it's a good movie, in my opinion. Basic Instinct is far superior. It's not as smart as it thinks it is. Again, unlike Basic Instinct, but it is very competent too. And yeah, like I said, it's my favorite out of that whole I guess, you know, updated genre that happened, you know, that kicked off there. But yeah, again, Vinegar Syndrome puts out great releases. Even if you just get like their basic, you know, if you're not lucky enough to get their slip covers or whatever, again, their releases are awesome. So yeah, definitely check out Vinegar Syndrome if you haven't before. Again, I've showed off several of their film releases on some of the other What's in the Boxes, but definitely check them out. All right, now we're on to the bulk of the video that came from Grove Entertainment. So yeah, it's mostly 4Ks, but I do have 3 just regular Blu-rays because either they don't have 4K copies of them as of yet, or the 4K copies were sold out, so I got the regular Blu-ray instead. But again, big ass stack. And start off is, again, several of these are going to be things that I saw on the last drive-in for the first time, and then it's like, oh yeah, that I really like that. So again, thank you to the last drive-in. Just love that. Love Joe Bob Briggs. Awesome in person. But anywho, first movie is the 1986 thriller The Stepfather. So yeah, most of these just have kind of plain slip covers and stuff. You know, it's just a normal 4K Blu-ray or whatever, but still nice nonetheless. So yeah, this stars Jerry Blake, who's in Lost and The Rocketeer and stuff, and also Jill Schoelen, who is in Popcorn, and she was also in uh, the Phantom of the Opera movie with Robert Englund, which I showed that off in a way back What's in the Box. Decent take on Phantom of the Opera. But anyway, it stars Terry O'Quinn. His character is Jerry Blake. So Jerry, I'm just going to read the back of this because it says it a lot better than what I actually would. So he's a man obsessed with having the perfect American life, including the house with a white picket fence in the suburbs, complete with an adoring wife and loving children. He believes he's found it when he marries Susan, who is her. That's Shelley Hack, who's in Troll and Charlie's Angels. She marries her and becomes stepfather to Susan's daughter, Stephanie, who's Jill Schoelen. But Jill's character, Stephanie, starts getting an uneasy feeling whenever she's around him, like something's not quite right, and kind of digs into his background, where he realizes there's something, darker and deeper there than, the cheerful exterior. So could she just be going through a typical teenage rebellion against her new stepfather, or could he be the same man that has brutally murdered his family in other towns? So yeah, great, nice thriller. There was a couple sequels. I haven't seen them, and I'm not sure. I think Terry comes back in one of them. I'm not 100%. But this was a good movie. And this, of course, has, the 4K and the regular Blu-ray, 4K restoration, usual special features and stuff. So yeah, cool flick, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure about Julia, because I think she was kind of in and out when I was on the playing on the last drive-in. Next up is a movie and book that both of us have been curious about for the longest time, and whenever we think about, or we'd see it on like compilation videos, kind of like my In Search of Darkness and stuff, people would talk about it, but we'd always forget about it. So again, this was cheap on that Grove sale, so I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and pick it up. And that would be 1983, The Dead Zone, based on the Stephen King novel. This was directed by David Cronenberg, and surprise, surprise, David doesn't have his usual body horror crazy shit in this. He sticks to the book pretty well. Again, great transition from the source material, in my opinion. You going to focus? Of course not. Why would you focus? But anyway, so it stars Christopher Walken. He plays the main character, Johnny Smith. Also has Tom Skerritt from Battlestar Galactica, Alien, and a bajillion other things. Tom is a great character actor. And also Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen in the role here as Greg Stilson. So Christopher Walken, for those of you that never saw this or read the book, I recently just finished the audiobook, because I got this, we watched it, and then I'm like, yeah, let's use my Audible, some of my Audible credits, and picked it up and listened to it. So again, I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty faithful adaptation. Oh, and actually, yeah, this was also produced by Deborah Hill, who is, worked with John Carpenter all those years and everything. So again, great production value and everything. Sticks to the book pretty well. But Christopher Walken's character Johnny, he's a school teacher, and he has a great job, nice fiance. They go to the fair, have a good time, and sorry, I got cat hairs all up in my eye. Surprise, surprise. So takes this girl out for night in town. You know, they're winding back. She asks him to stay over. He's like, better not. You know, what would the neighbors think? That kind of thing. Again, still worried about all that. So as he's leaving her house, he gets in a very bad car wreck. And here he runs into an 18-wheeler. In the book, he's riding in a cab, and they crash like head on with some teenagers that were drag racing. But he's put into a nearly 5-year coma. And when he comes out, he finds that he can see into the future here and there. You know, if he touches somebody or something, he can get glimpses of the future. So, you know, he sees catastrophes happening and stuff. So he gets like some somewhat national notoriety for that, because he helps his nurse like save her house and daughter from a house fire. He helps the police catch a rapist, a murderer, or whatever, and then he through a chance happening, he comes across Martin Sheen's character Greg, gets a glimpse of the future, and then realizes, oh shit, stuff's about to go down. I need to try and change that. So, you know, typical Stephen King flair for that. That's the you know, the unnatural thing right there. So the seeing into the future and all that stuff. But great production value. Again, does the source material well. I haven't seen the mini series or whatever that came out later on. What was that? Was it like mid 90s or 2000s or something? That might be on the list later. But again, really enjoyed this and enjoyed the book. Next up is a crazy ass remake of a 1942 film, and that is Cat People. So yeah, this stars Natasha Kinski, who is the daughter of Klaus Kinski, you know, and he's batshit crazy or whatever. Very method acting and all that kind of stuff. But also Malcolm McDowell, John Hurd, Annette O'Toole. So John Larroquette's in here also. Lynn Lowry. So she was in, speaking of Cronenberg, she was in several David Cronenberg films, like Shivers and a couple other things. But yeah, this and actually Roger Ebert gave this 3.5 stars, which is crazy for, you know, I guess this would be considered an erotic horror film, erotic horror thriller or whatever. So basically back in the olden times, the Cat People were I'm going to kind of like paraphrase or give you the gist of this whole thing. It's batshit crazy. So tribes and stuff would give their women to cat people, basically leopards and stuff, and have them mate or whatever. And that's how the cat people became who they are. And it's supposed to be like good fortune or some shit for the tribes. I don't know. Again, batshit crazy. But the thing is, the cat people have to mate with themselves to keep on going or whatever. Fast forward to you know, generations or whatever. Natasha Kinski's character, she was adopted and eventually comes across her actual brother, and that's Malcolm McDowell, and realize that, you know, something's not quite right with that. And then, you know, they become all infatuated, and then it realizes that you know, shit's going down. I don't know, it's batshit crazy, but good effects and everything. And again, Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars. He hardly ever does for horror films. But yeah, haven't actually watched a whole lot of this yet. Definitely got to do it and just again to just see how crazy it is. But again, it's kind of a cult classic. It came out in '82, so you know pops up on the lists, all the lists and things. But yeah, but keeping with some transformations and stuff like that, also got The Howling, the classic werewolf film in 1981, which there was two werewolf films in 1982, the other being An American Werewolf in London. So yeah, this of course stars Dee Wallace in one of her, you know, many great 70s and 80s roles. So yeah, this is directed by Joe Dante, you know, classic director, and the creature effects, the werewolf effects and everything. So they were originally being done by Rick Baker, and part way into filming this, he got the job, or he left to go do American Werewolf in London, and he left the job, you know, to continue it on to his assistant. Good lord, Rob Bottin. Again, great special effects artist. And then these two both came out in 1990 or 1981, and they both received great praise and stuff for the practical effects with the werewolf transformations and stuff. So basically, I'll get to the what the movie's about if you don't know. So yeah, Dee Wallace is a TV anchor woman, and she gets really shaken up when she comes across near fatal encounter with a serial killer, and that just, you know, messes her up. So one of her friends recommends a little a retreat away to kind of, you know, reset the batteries, get your head on straight, that kind of thing. And then when you get there, it's kind of has some like cultish vibes to it, where, you know, set of rules and everything. But as she's there, she's kind of seeing that there's some similarities to what that serial killer was talking about and going through here, and then that's when shit happens, and, you know, werewolves and all that kind of stuff. So again, pretty cool movie. I prefer American Werewolf in London. So that's one of the things, like, people always prefer one or the other. I mean, I like both. Both have, you know, again, great scripts, and directed beautifully and all that kind of stuff, great effects. But again, I saw American Werewolf in London first and then saw this, so that's a lot better. That grabs me more than The Howling. But again, great film. Several sequels to it. Not comes nowhere near as the level of this one. And also, like, the ending to this too has a great ending that Howling Part 2 just totally fucks over. But again, check it out if you haven't. And now we got a 80s slasher, surprise surprise, and that is The Burning. So The Burning came out in 1981, and again, it's on the heels of Friday the 13th. So you get kind of similar vibes from The Burning. And of course, both were brain fart. Tom Savini did special effects on both films and everything, and this is based on the Cropsey campfire tales from that originated up in, like, New Jersey and New York and stuff. So yeah, this is Jason Alexander's, like, first I say starring, but his first big role. So yeah, he, you know, young baby Jason Alexander in here. But yeah, so it's based out of a summer camp, of course, and some of the campers play a trick on Cropsy, who's the guards, or he's the caretaker. He's kind of creepy or whatever. Prank goes wrong. He gets like severely burned. His shack gets burned. He has like fifth degree burns or some kind of crazy shit like that. Survives it, and then he go obviously goes crazy from that. He gets released several years later from psychiatric hospital, and goes back to the camp to basically get his revenge on some of the counselors and other people that come back. So again, cool kills courtesy of Tom Savini. But again, just after Halloween and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff, the slasher genre just starts taking off, going 90-0. Oh yeah, it also stars Brian, what's his name, Brian Baker, or Brian Backer over here. So you should know him from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Leah Ayres, she was the reporter and Jean-Claude Van Damme's love interest in Bloodsport. And she's really annoying in this movie. She's definitely a not nice word, because she's like all wishy-washy. She's all like gung-ho, just you can't do that, and then next moment she's, oh, what does children, I don't know, she's all wishy-washy and everything. But again, great effects. Not as good as some of the other slashers, but it's very decent in that genre. So check it out if you haven't. Then we got another 80s slasher. Well, it's not really slasher. There's not a whole lot of kills and stuff in here, or there's kills and stuff, but it's not as gory. And that would be Sorority House Massacre. So yeah, this was in 1986, and one of the stars, or one of the actors in here, is Robert Axelrod. So you should know him from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he does, in his other voice work, he's done a lot of animated and gaming voice work. I mean, he passed away in the mid 2010s. I got to see him at Dragon Con, so that's cool, seeing him and hearing him talk on one of the panels with Jason David Frank and Walter Jones and Karen Ashley and stuff. Another little fun fact, the sorority babe here on the cover is Susie Slater, who again is known for Chopping Mall, but she hasn't appeared in the movie. So yeah, it's kind of crazy there. So in this, what's the lead actor's name? Angela O'Neill. Her character is Beth. So she, when she was young, she witnessed her family being murdered by her brother, and she only survived because she hid in the basement, and had massive trauma from that, PTSD, all that stuff. And then years later, she joins the sorority, and then starts having like these flashbacks and kind of like a psychic link and stuff to things that go on, and she's slowly realizing that things at the house aren't what they seem. I don't want to spoil a whole lot about this, but again, 80s, we had things like Friday 13th and Halloween sequels and Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever. But then we also had things like this, Slumber Party Massacre. So that same kind of part of the slasher, but over to the side a little parallel. So a bunch of these type of movies. Again, it's just fun. TNA, all that stuff. Again, not as many gory kills in this one. We still get some cool stuff, but nothing on the lines of, again, Friday the 13th as an example, or The Burning. But again, if you're bored one day, check out Tubi or Prime, whatever, see if it's playing, and give it a watch. Next up is a New World Pictures Roger Corman classic, Humanoids from the Deep. So yeah, as you see up there, stars Vic Morrow and Doug McClure. So again, saw this for the first time on the last drive-in. I've been curious about it, just seeing it at the video stores and things like that, but I never did pull a trigger on it, renting it or whatever. But basically, this is you could argue that this is an updated and much more gory and sexualized like reboot or remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon. But again, Roger Corman, the king of B movies, R.I.P. He passed a few years ago too. Great effects in this movie. The scenery and everything looks good too. It's based in a kind of like a Oregon kind of area, a fishing town. So, this is 1980, and Rob Bottin, who I mentioned earlier, he did the creature effects and the gore and all that stuff for this movie too. So yeah, there's a couple of different things going on at the same time with this. So you have these mysterious deaths around the fishing town, which I can't remember the name of it, but at the same time, there's also like a dispute between the local salmon fishers and this other company that's wanted to come in and put a big factory and basically take all their jobs. They took the jobs, that kind of stuff. And then once all these deaths and murders start happening, are they linked? What's going on? And then it leads up to the big salmon festival where shit hits the fan and the humanoids come from the deep and start wreaking havoc. And what was it? Fun fact that I'm going to kind of paraphrase because I just had a brain fart. The humanoids, they reuse like the same. They were only able to make like 2 or 3 of the costumes. I think it was, and actually I think Rob Bottin is actually in one of the costumes during a few of the scenes, but because they were on like a time crunch, and of course Roger Corman's all about cranking these movies out. We gotta maximize our time and our money and everything. That's why he puts so much into his sets. I think I mentioned back in when I showed off Galaxy of Terror, or I talked about Galaxy of Terror, it's like some of the panels and stuff were old Big Mac like clamshells and stuff that they painted and put on there to make part of the ship and stuff, just classic things like that, just to get the movie made, get it out there to make money and all that kind of stuff, and to use that money for the next film and everything. So again, nice creature flick, tons of gore, great gore and stuff. Of course, TNA, it's a Roger Corman film, or at least he produced, or Martin Cohen produced it, but he was presenting it and all that. And actually, Roger clashed with the director, Barbara Peters, said that there wasn't enough gore and nudity in it, so they're kind of going back and forth. Saying, put some more in. She didn't want to do it, and he said, okay, well, I'll find somebody else that will then. So like, fine, go ahead and do it, but she gets to see the cut before that happened, before it goes out to, the press or whatever. Roger didn't show it to her. She got pissed off about that. But you know, everybody liked it. And she wanted her name taken off it. Roger again said no, and he's basically like, you know, I'm the one that hired you. This is how I want it. You know, tough. So yeah, she hated it for a while, but she never watched it. So years later, she finally watched it and it's like, okay, yeah, it's a good movie. Yes, it is. But again, definitely check it out. Great 80s creature feature. These next two kind of go together, and that's Night of the Creeps and The Faculty. So yeah, Night of the Creeps first. I love this movie. It's classic 80s cheese. It's a 1986 film, basically kind of like a Body Snatchers kind of thing. So this paved the way for movies like The Faculty, Slither from James Gunn. So yeah, this was written and directed by Fred Decker, who also did Monster Squad, and there's actually a nod, a little Easter egg to Monster Squad in this movie. So as they were filming this, Fred got the word that it was a green light for Monster Squad, and Monster Squad is a fucking great movie too. Check that out. I've talked about it several times here on the channel. So yeah, he did Monster Squad and RoboCop 3 and some other stuff. But yeah, this stars the awesome Tom Atkins again, and I hate that I didn't actually get to meet him when we went to Silver Scream Con. He's supposed to show up. He's supposed to be there, but then they were having issues with like his flight or whatever, so he wasn't able to make it. So yeah, this has the director's cut of the film, so it's the 4K and the regular Blu-ray, and then it has the third disc that's special features and stuff. Which again, it's really weird, especially on like the 4K part. I've mentioned this on other videos. There's enough data on the disc that they could put all the special features and things like that on there. I don't know why a lot of these companies insist on doing this separate or whatever, but I don't know. Again, and then Tom's catchphrase, so he's the grizzled crotchety detective or whatever, classic trope or whatever. But again, Tom Atkins is fucking great, plays it awesomely, but his catchphrase is "thrill me." So in this movie, it starts off with like an alien experiment gets let loose. So yeah, aliens fighting above, some Star Wars shit. This experiment basically gets jettisoned, lands on Earth, and the small town where it takes place at, and the experiments get out, takes over. It infects another a college student back in the 50s or whatever, and was it the 50s or the 40s? No, it's 50s. No, I'm sorry, the 60s, 50s, 60s, whatever. But fast forward to 20 something years later, and the body that was cryogenically frozen with the infection or whatever inadvertently gets released back out to the public because of a fraternity pledge that kind of went wrong, and then mayhem ensues. So yeah, it's basically the little slug-like creatures or whatever going around infecting all kinds of things, basically turning them into zombies. So a bunch of gross out effects, cheesy 80s fashion and dialogue and all that stuff, but some cool ass freaking kills. TNA. Got Jill Whitlow right there with a makeshift flamethrower, all kinds of shit. Great movie, great cult classic. Again, I love this film. I've seen it growing up all the time on TNT and stuff. So yeah, I love this. So this is an upgraded version from my kind of basic Blu-ray that came out years and years ago. So yeah, again, love this movie. And then the faculty came out in 1998 when, again, Kevin Williamson's basically teenager phase, teenager craze or whatever was running wild through the 90s. This was directed by Robert Rodriguez. Again, hell of a cast in here. Yeah, you have Elijah Wood, Jordana Brewster, excuse me, Clea Duvall, Josh Hartnett. So yeah, he did this after Halloween H2O. Who else we got? We got Famke Jensen. So this is before X-Men. Piper Laurie, great actress. Robert Patrick, Salma Hayek, Jon Stewart, Usher. So yeah, all kinds of people up in here. So same thing. Elijah Wood is an introverted school photographer. Jordana Brewster's character, she runs a school paper that, you know, Elijah takes the pictures and stuff for. He's always getting bullied and stuff because high school. But he comes across this weird little like embryo or whatever on the football field, takes it to science class or whatever, shows it to the teacher, who's played by Jon Stewart, and as they start kind of dissecting it, you know, find some weird stuff, and especially when it gets introduced to water, it comes alive and whatever, and then, you know, shit starts happening. So again, this is definitely more of the Invasion of the Body Snatcher kind of pod people take than Night of the Creeps or Slither. But great popcorn flick. You know, Robert Rodriguez's style all throughout it. You know, nice music throughout. Looks great. But the CGI again, the CGI in the 90s was all over the place. So there's a few of the effects that don't look as good. It's supposed to be cheesy anyway, but you just get even more laughs because how it is. And yeah, back to Kevin Williamson, who wrote this. You know, he's responsible for for Scream. I mean, of course, Wes Craven, but Kevin Williamson wrote the script for that. He also did I Know What You Did Last Summer. He was a writer for Dawson's Creek, which, you know, again, huge hit back then for the WB, and then when it turned into the CW and whatever. I think he also did, I can't remember if he did Urban Legends or not too, but again, he did all kinds of shit through the 90s and still, you know, doing stuff today. But again, great you know, body snatcher film. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. Next up, and this is our getting down to the last few of the 4K Blu-rays, but this one is an overlooked Tobe Hooper classic, in my opinion. It doesn't get as much recognition as it should because, again, when you think of Tobe Hooper, you immediately think of two things: Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Poltergeist. But this is The Funhouse. And this is another one, again, I waited way too long to watch this for the first time. And I really liked it. I enjoyed it. It's for the most part, it takes place on like 2 film locations. So you have it, and this was in 1981. So this was obviously after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it was before before Poltergeist, I believe. I can't remember. I can't remember if this came out right before Poltergeist or if it was right after. But has some great effects in this too. The the sets look great. Again, there's pretty much only two. So the main character, oh my goodness, what's her damn name? Elizabeth Barrage. So her character, Amy. So it's at her parents' house and then basically the fun house. Pretty much two locations. And you get a nice, like, claustrophobic feel from it. But anyway, so Amy goes on like a double date with her new boyfriend to the carnival that's in town, and this is going against her father's explicit instructions to not go there because that carnival's shady and stuff's he's heard tales from things that's gone on in the other towns and stuff, but she goes to the carnival anyway, and they come up with the bright idea to based on another of their friends or whatever, to actually stay inside the funhouse overnight. So as they're doing that, they witness a murder and kind of get found out. So it's a cat and mouse through the funhouse trying to get out of there, and there's a weird kind of creature or something other that's also chasing him throughout there, and so we got to get away from all that. But it's a nice fun film. Again, looks great. Tobe Hooper, he was a great director, and a cool little fun fact about this too. So author Dean Koontz, he actually wrote a novelization of the screenplay for this, and because they were having delays and some production issues or whatever, it's pretty much just delays. The book came out before the movie, and everybody assumed that the movie was based on the film, and it was vice versa or whatever. But again, check this one out. It's a nice fun flick. And again, it's overlooked because, again, you got, when you think of Tobe Hooper, you think Chainsaw Massacre, Poltergeist, Life Force, and again, underrated in my opinion. So to round out the 4K Blu-rays is a double flick from Italian director Michele Soavi, and that is The Church and Cemetery Man. And these were both Severin Films releases. So again, I like the way that the covers look, like especially like this one has the gold lettering to kind of go with the purple and the blacks and whites and stuff. And then on this one, of course, it has silver and whatnot. So yeah, Michele Soavi, he was like a production assistant, or basically Dario Argento's bitch for there a while, and then got his kind of blessing or his stamp of approval or whatever to do this. So we're gonna talk about The Church first, because it was his this came out before Cemetery Man. So yeah, this was 1989, and it's kind of supposed to be Demons 3, but not really. And then there's all kinds of other crazy shit regarding the Demons movies. So like, really only 1 and 2 are kind of connected. This one not so much, but a little bit. And then the other ones really have nothing to do with the original Demons. It's convoluted Italian horror film nonsense. But very cool movie. Again, the set pieces look great. It's all, for the most part, in the church, the cathedral, and then another little set piece. You get to see the city for a little bit, and then so Asia Argento, she plays a character Lottie. So she's a little girl in here, and she sneaks out and goes to like a nightclub and things like that. But it also stars Hugh Quarshie, a Ghanaian actor who you should know from Highlander, Nightbreed, and also Episode 1, Phantom Menace, who's the head of the guard or whatever. Great actor. And then also an actress in here, Barbara Kubasti. She also has a role in Cemetery Man. But the church, so it starts off in like Inquisition times, and basically like some Knights Templar, or the little Inquisition hit squad people. I can't think of their names right now, but they come across what they think is a coven of witches or whatever, or just demon worshippers. They massacre all of them. Some actually were, but several of them were just innocent people, and then just basically do a mass grave, and this cathedral gets built on top of it. And then century later or whatever, a new librarian comes. Well, there's a librarian and one of the new priests. That's Hugh Quarshie's character. They kind of unleash the spirits that are trapped up under there, and they're basically wanting to bring about the end of the world or whatever, or have the demons come back out and possess people and take over, yada yada. So cool flick. Again, another, you're like isolated because you get stuck in the church, and that kind of rat in a cage kind of feel or whatever. But again, the set pieces look great. The lighting and all that, just very, very nice. Again, it has that Italian film kind of quirks to it or whatever, with the the dubbing and all that stuff. But again, cool movie. And again, saw it on the last drive-in, actually the last season of the last drive-in or whatever. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, really enjoyed picking this up from Severin Films. Severin Films also has they get all kinds of B and cult movies and stuff, and keeping the culture or whatever alive, the preservation alive and well or whatever. And then next up, Cemetery Man. This came out in 1993, and it's Rupert Everett's character right there, Francesco Della Morte. It's based on a series of Italian graphic novels named Dylan Dog. But basically, Della Morte, he's kind of been charged from this city of, what's it called? It starts with a B. I can't think of the name of it, but he gets charged by the town to basically be the cemetery man. So sometimes, for whatever reason, sometimes dead bodies in the cemetery come back up as zombies, and he is charged with keeping them inside the cemetery, killing them again so they stay dead. And it's him and his kind of half-wit partner, played by Francois Haji Lazaro. So it's like basically it's a black comedy, horror comedy, whatever. I'm skipping around, but anyway, so during this time he comes across this beautiful this widow. So her husband just died. He's going to be put in the cemetery, and he's immediately in love with her, and then she's in love with him, and she's infatuated with this ossuary. And they they have sex on top of his freshly dug grave. And he comes back alive, kills her, and then again, Delamorte is just all just always questioning love and life and death and all that kind of stuff, and all these other little things kind of keep happening or whatever. And he decides that he's tired of it. He wants to get out of the town, but will the town let him? That kind of thing. So again, nice black comedy. Beautiful set piece, especially in the cemetery and the ossuary and everything. It looks great. Some cool zombie kills and things like that. Again, just that black comedy horror, or quirks and stuff like that. Still kind of get some batshit what the fuck kind of things with it, but it's very entertaining. And yeah, definitely check it out. I recommend it. All right, so that's all the 4Ks. I have 4 regular Blu-rays, and then we're getting to the crowdfunding finale of the video. All right, so this is the 1992 film Dr. Giggles, a new prescription in terror, or for terror. So yeah, another one I never really watched. I wasn't particularly interested in it, in my earlier years or whatever. And then again, saw it on the last drive-in and enjoyed it. Again, there's some CGI that looks like ass in it, because again, this was 1992, so very early on in the CGI process, even though we just had Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, who knocked it out of the fucking park with it or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back to this real quick. So the original title for this was called Delamorte dell'amore, which is basically Italian for death and love, and that's why his name is Delamorte. Anyway, little fun fact. But yeah, this stars Holly Marie Combs, who you should know from Charmed, and then also Larry Drake, who I mentioned before. Great character actor. He was phenomenal in Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and then all his other bit parts and TV and stuff like Firefly and stuff like that. It also has who you may know if you are a fan of Roseanne or Angel, Glenn Quinn. So this is one of his earlier roles. He's Holly Marie Combs' boyfriend in the film, and yeah, he sadly died while he was on Angel, because he did 11 or 12 episodes, but he died of a heroin overdose. So that's very sad, but cool little flick. So Larry Drake's character, Dr. Giggles, he was let out of a psychiatric hospital, whatever, because he witnessed his father. His father was a nut job serial killer, and he was a doctor, just kind of went crazy and started killing people. And his dream was to do an open heart surgery, whatever, at the time, because I think it was still new or whatever. But he was using all these kind of other test subjects or whatever to kill him. He sees it, kind of goes crazy or whatever, gets let out, and then goes back to the same town and house where he grew up, and all that stuff happens, and kind of tries to carry on his father's work. And that segues to Holly Marie Combs' character, who has heart issues, so he kind of like Hannibal and Clarice. He kind of has he imprints himself on her, and I can fix you or whatever, and wants to do open heart surgeries and stuff. So again, some cool kills, cheesy ass medical one-liners from Larry Drake or whatever. It's entertaining 90s horror cheese. And so yeah, check it out. Next up is another underrated horror movie, in my opinion, and that is also this is also in 1992, and that is Pet Sematary 2. I love this film. Again, I watched this on TNT when I was growing up, and then years later, finally saw the unedited version of it, so you got to actually see all the kills and things like that. But this was Edward Furlong's second movie, so he did this right after Terminator 2. And again, kind of comes more a little bit more comfortable, I guess, acting or whatever in this one. Excuse me. And it also stars Anthony Edwards, who you should know from Revenge of the Nerds, Top Gun. He was Goose in Top Gun, which again I totally forgot about that, because again he's more so known for his role on ER, so he has like the receding hairline and all that, and the glasses and everything. Doesn't have the facial hair or whatever, because Goose had the mustache or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, Anthony Edwards. You also had he's not showing it here. I'm gonna show that back part too. But kind of the Edward Furlong's antagonist or whatever, Jared Rushton. So you know him from Big. He was Tom Hanks's best friend in Big, and also he was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That was his big stuff, and then he just kind of did some TV and things here and there. And of course, the always awesome Clancy Brown. Great. Clancy Brown's great in any fucking movie he's in. Any role he's in, he is awesome. Same with this. He plays Edward Furlong's best friend's father or stepfather. And yeah, he just becomes, well, they throw him in the pet cemetery, and then he comes back and he's just all, batshit crazy or whatever. But again, cool effects in this movie also. Very underrated. Definitely check it out. People were blowing up my phone. Spam calls. All right, last Blu-ray from the Grove Entertainment sale, or Groove. I'm not sure how you actually say it. It's GRUV. It's another movie that I've talked about on the channel before. Again, I love this movie. Behind the Mask: the Rise of Leslie Vernon. So this came out in 2006, and it's kind of like, it's also a meta movie. Kind of continues on with what started with Scream and like Urban Legend and stuff. Not so much I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's not really meta, but keeping that same thing where again, all these horror people, Freddy, Jason, Michael, like they actually exist and stuff in here. And actually, Robert Englund plays a role in here. There's a cameo from Kane Hodder, and so this follows Leslie Vernon. He's like the next up and coming horror killer, serial killer, or whatever, and he invites a film crew who is led by Angela Goethals. I'm not sure how you actually say her last name. Goethals character, to basically follow him around, document what's going on, like his prep work, what he has to do to basically set up to his big night, to where he has his murder spree, and cements himself in the the pantheon that was created. So again, cool, funny flick. Some great kills. Against meta. So it's fourth wall, all that kind of stuff. But also stars Scott Wilson, who was Herschel in The Walking Dead for all that time. Angela, I guess she got her acting debut, or one of her big roles was one of Kevin McAllister's siblings in Home Alone, just the first one. She was Lenny, and for whatever reason, she wasn't in part 2. I don't know why. I'm actually kind of curious why she didn't come back for part 2. But then she did stuff like 24 and some other like TV and things like that. And also the late great Zelda Rubinstein, who she was in Tales from the Crypt. She did all kinds of stuff, voice work too, with her unique voice. She was the the 4-foot tall older lady. She's in all the Poltergeist. She has that voice and that kind of squeaky voice or whatever. And of course, like I said, Robert Englund or whatever. Great film. And also the ending credits are to Talking Heads song Psycho Killer. So hell yeah. So yeah, definitely check that out. And then I got an Arrow video release. And we picked this up at Barnes & Noble, and it was one of those things I threw it back on because, again, I saw it on the last drive-in for the first time. Again, when I saw the cover and stuff for it, so the movie is Mute Witness. Came out in 1995. Great fucking film. So, I see that, and, well, I didn't recognize the mute. When I initially would see it, I just see Witness. I'm like, what the hell is that? Why is this in horror or whatever? But it is a great film. It's a cat and mouse, kind of more so thriller than horror or whatever, but kind of like, I put it up there in the same vein as Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon, all that stuff, the Hannibal stuff. And actually, Sir Alec Guinness, he has a small role in here, which is kind of crazy. I guess that this was towards the end of his career before he died. But the director for this was Anthony Waller, and he also did American Werewolf in Paris. So in this, the character Billy Hughes. So they're making a. So Billy is a mute special effects artist, and she's working on an American slasher movie in Russia, in Moscow, because it's a whole lot cheaper to film and stuff over there. So the up and coming director who's dating Billy's sister, and also is a production assistant or whatever. So they're all over there making the film, and Billy accidentally gets locked into the studio, and as she's trying to get out, she witnesses basically it looks like a snuff film is happening, and she witnesses a murder, and gets found out. So they're it's again that cat and mouse chase through the studio and everything. She eventually gets out, and then she gets chased around like her apartment and other places and whatnot, because again it's like this underground again little snuff film company or whatever that's trying to hunt her down, shut her up, even if she's deaf or whatever, but get rid of her so then they can continue on or whatever. Great film. So yeah, I was talking about this because again before we went out that day, like the day or so before, I rewatched it again because I would always just throw on rewatch a lot of Last Drive-In stuff. Again, why will it not Focus. Anywho. Oh yeah, this also has I think this has a yeah, this has a poster. As a poster, that's the movie cover. I'm not gonna bust that open. But also little booklet, pamphlet, you know, talking about the movie too. You know, Arrow Video does that kind of stuff also. And it has the reversible covers, yada yada yada. But yeah, we're talking about it. And I was like, yeah, man, I really like the movie. I need to add to collection. And we're just going by, because you know, we kind of have these rounds that we do whenever we go to Barnes and Noble. So yeah, we went by the movies, and then Julia was just kind of like, oh, right there. I'm like, what? Picks it up. I'm like, yes. And actually, I got something else that's going to be in part 2, the second part of this video. At the same time, I got this. But again, definitely check this out. I highly recommend this. Again, just that cat and mouse, that chase, you get that tension and stuff, and there's humor throughout, because again, the director boyfriend, can't remember his name here. He's basically the comic relief, just being a dumbass American or whatever. So you know, you get that tension, and then you get the little laughter or whatever to kind of break it a little bit, get you back to where you're like, oh, okay, what's going on? And then it happens again. So very, very cool flick. Highly recommend. And lastly for this video, again, I told you this was going to be a long one. That's why breaking it up to 2 pieces or 2 parts, again, because I love talking about movies. But it's part 2 of my crowdsourced video series that I've talked about several times on here, and that's the In Search of Darkness series. So this is In Search of Darkness 95 to 99. So yeah, again, part 2 from, you know, this, that was 90 to 94. Again, these documentaries are great. I love the cover art. The cover art is fucking great. Again, you got all kinds of movies drawn in here from that time period. You know, you got Scream right there. You got Bride of Chucky, brain farting. You got Faculty over there, The Ring, Village of the Damned, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, we were going through trying to look at all of them. Was that Blair Witch? Blair Witch Project is fucking trash. I'm sorry. But anyway, great. Again, great documentary series. And I got my name in the credits again and stuff too. And then let's see, my limited edition number, I was $16.95. And again, you know, has the big thick book to go with it, and talking about how they were coming across there. We got a watch list, you know, check mark what you have and have not watched, you know, some behind the scenes pictures from the directors and other actors and things that they were talking about, or that were talking throughout. And of course, with these, I also get some other little goodies. But again, I'm somewhat disappointed. Again, documentary side, fucking great, all that stuff. I'm kind of disappointed with the freebies that have been happening, or I say freebies, whatever. The gifts that were also part of that. It's not as, I get it, because, you know, costs and stuff and things like that definitely go up. You know, before we got like pins and stickers and other kinds of stuff. Posters, which the posters are still here. You know, I got that right here. I'll show you. But yeah, that, you know, no pins or anything like that this time. So yeah, there's a big watch list of things that they cover on here. I do have some stickers this time. No pins. I'm kind of disappointed about no pins, because I have several of the other ones on my messenger bag. Of course, my little seal or whatever, since I, backed it from the beginning. And then, of course, the poster. So you got the classic one that's been on all of them. Of course, we got a PS2 right there, or a PlayStation 1, that kind of thing. And then, of course, we got the awesome art, and I can't remember who's been doing the art for these, but this one is great. Again, big version of that. So nice. I love this poster. So yeah, I get added to all my other ones. And actually, they're talking about. Of course, they're going to do some more, because again, the reception for all these, again, rightfully so, because they put the time in, because each of these are like 4.5, 5 hours long. But the reception is high on them. They have some other projects that actually Julia went ahead and got for us. So one of them is the Aliens retrospective or whatever, which I kept meaning to get, but every time it come back up, life would happen, so I'd have to pass on it. But then also, they're doing a retrospective of one of my other favorite movies, The Thing. So she jumped in and got a little combo. That's The Thing, and also added the Aliens retrospective to it. So yeah, the Thing retrospect. I think the pre-orders or whatever for that happens at the end, or ends at the end of March. So then hopefully it won't be too long before they ship stuff out and all that. We'll see. I don't know, but very much looking forward to that too, because again, they put in the work on both of these. Again, there's some movies that I wish that they covered, like especially in this one, like Brain Scan. There's a few in here that I'm brain farting because knowledge overload. I'm brain's fried right now, but they could have added some more other little films instead of talking about, of course they're going to talk about the Blair Witch Project. I hate the Blair Witch Project. If you like it, more power to you. Blair Witch Project, I guess it was a cultural phenomenon, whatever. The Blair Witch Project was shit. The only good thing about the fucking movie was the ending, and even then it's like, why did I waste 2 hours or whatever, however fucking long it was for that? I hate the Blair Witch Project. Same thing with the spiritualist Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity is a slightly better Blair Witch Project, but at the end of the day, it's still Blair Witch Project, and it's shit. I don't know. Hate me for it in the comments, whatever. I forgot where I was going with that, but anywho, we're gonna end the video now. Thanks for joining me again on this long-winded part 1 of What's in the Box. Again, my movie haul on part 1 as I throw them all on the floor. Yeah, thank you for joining me as always. I greatly appreciate it again, and hopefully, leave some comments talking about any of these movies. I will happily engage with you through that. And then again, look forward to part 2, which will drop the same, or shortly after this. Again, that's for the other my other pickups in February that aren't movies. But yes, thanks for joining me as always. Until next time, Nerd Fam, Nerd Jace out.